Happy Monday. So today I'm recording another Coffee with Stacey, and I have my coffee. Ta-da! And today's topic is going to be cameras. That was a pause for dramatic effect while I drink my coffee. Um, so cameras are a topic that I guess I feel like there's a lot of like peer pressure. Like if you're gonna sell something on Etsy, you need to have this DSLR that costs $1,000 so you can take these photos, so you can sell your $15 items and maybe never make that money back. So I want to talk about what I use because my philosophy is really that whether you're a hobbyist or starting a business, you should really stick to using the things that you can afford, and you shouldn't feel the burden to buy these huge giant things. And the camera I have is pretty affordable and at the same time pretty high end. So I want to talk about that and talk about what you might want to get and why you might want to move on, because I certainly don't have the top end thing. First, I'll tell you about what I'm up to. So this week, I'm getting ready for my new Craftsy class. It's a secret what it's about, but it's going to be good, and I'm really excited about it. So I'll be making some samples, typing up my patterns, sending them off to the Craftsy, fancy tech editing and formatting people, and getting all my materials ready to do the shoot. So I guess I can't really say any more about it except that I'm excited, and I think this is a really great time of year to go out to Denver, so I'm really stoked. Last time I filmed, well, it was in January, and I filmed, so you might know I go to Australia every year, because my husband's Australian and we visit his family for Christmas. And I come back in early January and I flew into LA and I went straight to Denver. So after like 20 hours on a plane, and went to sleep and woke up the next morning and started filming. So I think this year is going to be so much more relaxed when I'm making the class. So it's going to be great. So cameras, okay. I have never owned a DSLR camera, so I'll start with that. You can take that to mean what you think it means. I know a lot of people use them. Maybe they have a high school photography class or some kind of place where they really are focused on these various settings and things, and so they feel very strongly drawn to them. I don't have any formal photography training, and I guess I never really felt that kind of draw to them. And I've always been a point and shoot user, but there are limits with a point and shoot camera. So there's various kinds of shots that you can't do. And when I was looking for my most recent camera, I chatted with a lot of people. One of my friends is a professional photographer, and she recommended what we'll call a high-end point and shoot. So, excuse me, I have a Canon, what's it called, an S95. So if you look this up on Amazon right now, it looks like it's expensive. It's like $400 or something, but that's just because it's out of, like they don't make it anymore. So the newer version is called like a Canon S100, and that's about the same price I bought this for. So I got it for about $200. So that's more expensive than a normal point and shoot, but it's a lot less expensive than a DSLR. So before you're picking your camera, I think it's really important to think about what you want to do with it. So for me, I'm taking product shots. So those are my stuffed animals, usually on a white cardboard background. I care a lot about getting close detail shots. So like I do tutorials and things where you need to see the yarn and the stitches. So I like a nice macro setting. Oh geez, now I can see that my necklace is askew. Hate when that happens. Okay, now we're cool. I also, I use my camera on vacation. When I travel, I don't like looking like a tourist. I don't like having a huge, very expensive camera around. And for me personally, I just knew I wasn't going to feel comfortable traveling with a very large, expensive camera. And if I wasn't using my camera to actually take any photos, then what good is it? The other thing I do is I film videos. So this one I'm actually filming on my computer because I have to have my camera to show you my camera, but usually I film it on my camera. And so having a camera that also does videos is really super convenient for me. So what I was looking for when I was purchasing my camera, this actually has more features than I use. This shoots in JPEG format, which is the normal format we're all familiar with, like photo format, and it also shoots in RAW, which is some sort of fancy photographical thing, and then you can do stuff with it. I've never used that, but it has it, so you can. This also has manual focus, so I can use the little turn dial to change the focus setting, and that's just, are you looking at something closer or further away? The thing I cared a lot about was the macro setting. I call it the little flower setting. So if you look on the back, I don't know if you can see, right here there's a little flower and it says MF. That means shooting something really close up. So I'm gonna see if this works. Like, I'm just gonna take this photo of my keyboard. Oh, you can't see me, but I was about, I'll do it again. My camera's about an inch away from the keyboard. Okay, and when I push play, you can see here, it's a pretty good shot of the keys of my keyboard. And this is something that all cameras have posted when you're looking for the information about them. It'll say what the micro setting distance is. So that's telling you the distance, like how close can you get to take a really good photo. So like, what's another thing? Like, I don't know, let's try. I can't even see if my necklace is in there because I'm doing it backwards. Wait, let's try again. Okay, so here we did another one. And just trust me, this is a really clear photo of my necklace, and it was at about an inch, and it can get even closer. So for fun, I had a friend come over with her DSLR, and we like did some photos to see whose was better. No, and really for the micro up close setting, my camera was about as good as her camera, which was a DSLR, and she had shopped around for one with a good close-up capacity. Now, where does it not do as well? If you're, perhaps if you're a garment designer or you want those photos that like, you know, someone's like this and the background is completely blurry, that's called depth of field. So you're focused just on someone's head and not the background. So a point and shoot camera, well, sorry, I'll go back. Doing all of that stuff has to do about what kinds of lenses are in there and blah, 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 blah. You know, DSLR stands for digital single refractive lens or something. So they're just built differently than a point and shoot camera. So my camera has a scene setting, which has a portrait. So see, I can do it, I'm turning off the flash. It has a little person, and that means portrait. So I can do a portrait setting, and if you look at my camera, there we go. It's a perfectly fine photo of me, and the background is an incy blurry. The background's really not that blurry. So with this kind of camera, just the way that the lenses work, and I could tweak with it, work on the manual focus to get the background slightly more blurry, it's never going to produce those kinds of photos that, at least to me, look like professional photos that are like, you know, you can't even see what's in the background, and, you know, the depth of field is like just beautiful. So that's an aspect when I'm playing with my friend's DSLR camera. I'm just like really jealous because, you know, she does the setup, which is sort of complicated to me, like, you know, da 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 da, and then every photo she takes like looks like a professional photo. So that's something that you're not going to get with the point and shoot because it's about how the lenses work and things like that. So that's an example of something my camera can do that is as good as a DSLR, and then it's also an example of something that I can't do, and if I was really interested in that kind of photo, I would have to go up to a more expensive camera. I just want to spend a couple minutes talking about how different kinds of cameras work, so that you can know what you're getting into, and then talking about lighting conditions, because that's important too. So the point and shoot camera, the high-end one, once you buy it, you've bought everything you need. So I spent $220, and I have absolutely everything I need to take photos. There's no add-ons, which is good to know up front. I have it, it works, click, click, click. You can buy accessories. So for example, when I take, when I'm filming my tutorials, I have this little tripod, which I really like. It's a Gobi Gorilla tripod that I can just use to set, see, like so, and I can film my hands doing things. But there's no extras that you need. When you buy a DSLR camera, you're buying the camera, and you purchase the lenses separately. So of course you could get a package that comes with a certain number of lenses or something, but you're buying the focus of the lenses separately. And of course I don't use them personally, so I'm not the wisest on this issue, but my basic understanding is that, for example, for the close-up things we were doing, that's a different kind of lens that you would screw on from the portrait shots, from the panoramic shots. So if you want to do those different photos, it's physically you have to change it. So that's something to think about for vacations or whatnot. And it's also an added expense so that you need. Like I can do pretty nice panoramic shots on my camera. That's a lens you would have to purchase. So I have no idea how much a lens is. Let's pretend it's $100. If you only take 2 panoramic shots a year, are you going to buy that lens, or are you just going to say, oh drat, I won't worry about it? And also, my camera has the movie capability in it. A DSLR, you will need a separate movie camera if that's what you're interested in doing. So there's no right or wrong answer. It really annoys me when people are like, I know exactly what camera you need, because they don't. You need the camera that does the things that you need it to do for your price point. And so that brings me into this next topic I wanted to talk about, which is good lighting. So I saw this on an Etsy success video, I guess, and it really stuck with me, and I think it's important to say out loud. So a professional photographer was giving a seminar on how to photograph your Etsy items. And she took a photo with her iPhone, she took a photo with a point and shoot, and she took a photo with her DSLR, and she put them up, and no one could tell the difference. Because if you're just doing a product shot on a white background where you can't see depth of field, there's not a whole lot of difference between these cameras nowadays. Point and shoots are amazing. Phones are actually really, really incredible. I mean, the cameras on the phones are really incredible. And so what made the photo so good was that she had good natural lighting, and it was done in a nice setting that allowed for a good photograph. So that's good news, because it means that a normal point and shoot can, in many circumstances, take a really nice photo like a professional camera would. The flip side of that I hear a lot of people talking about is, you know, if you, like, I live in Minnesota, it's dark during the winter. Even at noon, it's dark. I mean, it's just where the position of the sun is. It's really hard to get a good photo. I mean, really, like, you can see my patterns that are released during the winter. The progress photos are like sort of mediocre because I don't have a light box set up, which is something some people do set up. Getting a DSLR camera will not magically make all of your photos good. If you have crappy lighting and you take photos with a $2,000 camera, they're still going to look like crappy photos. And I think that's one thing that people forget, is they think that this expensive camera is like this magic tool that's going to do all these things, and really it's not. If you're not taking good photos on your point and shoot, you're probably not ready to upgrade to a better camera because you're not doing something that's allowing you to take good photos. So just as an example, last year we were in Maryland. It was Tim's first time having crabs, and I forgot my camera. And you know, you always have crabs in like some dingy bar where like the lighting isn't very good. And I was with my mom and stepfather, but my stepfather had his DSLR camera. And he likes doing landscape photography, so he has whatever camera for landscape photography. On my point and shoot, I can set the ISO, which is the opening for how much light comes in. So in a low lighting setting, I can still get a decent photo. I mean, we're not talking about like, we're gonna make a poster of it, but I could get a decent photo that I'd be happy putting on Facebook saying, hey, look, Tim had crabs. With my father-in-law's camera, I could not change the ISO to the number I needed to even take a photo. It couldn't capture the image at all because the camera was meant for certain specifications and not others like low lighting. So that's a case where getting a nice fancy camera isn't fixing the problem of low lighting that you have, and it may even be harder to do with all of this camera with all of these settings because the settings may not be as broad as what you have. So that's my spiel. That's my spiel on cameras. I'll put a link up to the newer model of the one I have. I don't even know if I would recommend that everyone get the camera I have. My normal point and shoot was doing quite fine. It was about to die and I wanted to experiment with like what the next level is. I love my camera a lot. It takes really nice photos. One thing I forgot to say is it has a really quick snappy, whatever it's called, a snappy thing. And I have taken clear photos out of a car window at 55 miles an hour. Like, no lie, you can't tell the difference between the photo I took out of the car and if you were standing still. It's that focused. And that's something that the lower end point and shoots don't do. I've taken photos of dogs running straight at me because I can change the ISO and get a really quick picture, which is great. And I love that aspect of it because I enjoy experimenting with photos. It's not something I need at all for my work. It's not something I would ever need for a product photo. So if you're just looking for a camera that takes nice photos of things to put in your shop, maybe this is overkill. And that's what I feel is really important, that I'm telling you that you need to look at what you need and get it and not trying to push a particular camera on you. But in case you're interested, I'm going to post a link to the new version of my camera because I think it's a really good option for people who are looking for something in the middle. And I never hear people talking about it. Like I never hear people even mentioning that these exist. So I do want to get the word out about those. And something else. Oh, I was going to talk a little bit about like megapixels and things like that. So megapixels is how many pixels there are in I don't know, so many inches of the photo. I have no idea. Back in the day, we used to work like, you know, when you had the 1.2 megapixel camera, you were like, ooh, do I want the 2? I don't know. Nowadays, they're all so good. For under $100, you can get a 6 megapixel or a 12 megapixel, or who even knows. And that allows you to print like a poster in good resolution. So I would say that now that's not as big of a focus point as it perhaps it was a while ago. Because, I mean, are you printing posters? I don't know. I'm not printing posters. I take these photos and they could be like giant. I don't even shoot my camera on the highest resolution that it could be because what am I going to do with these photos? Oh, and I know the last thing I was going to talk about. So I want to just talk an easy bit about like classes and things you can do online with your camera. The first thing is reading the manual. It's boring, but do it. It has all the stuff in it that tells you how to use the camera. And so, you know, turning off the flash, using the little zoom, whatever, tells you how to do it, read the manual. There's a couple classes on Craftsy. that I've taken and have enjoyed. Caro Sheridan's class on it's called How to Shoot It. It's a good basic photography class that goes over a lot of the things that I just sort of flew by. Like ISO lets you take things faster, more light, less light, depth of field, blah blah blah. Um, I felt the class was a easy bit geared towards those with a DSLR who could adjust more of the features. And it doesn't, if you're already very familiar with your camera and what those basic terms mean, it's not going to give you the advanced kind of information you might be looking for. But it's good for beginners. Another class I took that I actually really enjoyed was called Creative Photography by, I think, George. And I'll put links to these up. And that class was about, so there's lots of classes. You can take photography classes till the cows come home. A lot of them focus on how to take professional wedding photos, how to take portraits, and the starting point is you have your DSLR and you have a lighting studio and you have your models and well, whatever. I don't have that. I'm not running a photography business. George's class, I hope that's his name, was called Creative Photography, and his philosophy is to not use any extra equipment. So he has his camera and he shoots birthday parties, he shoots someone working, those kinds of things. And it's really good because he's not using extra stuff, which I find really inspiring because I'm looking to take photos of my blog. Sorry, not of my blog, that'd be a really boring photo. I'm looking to take photos for my blog. Maybe a product out in the wild, maybe some vacation photos. And so that class I found really inspiring and worth taking. Maybe you're just looking to take slightly more interesting photos and not wanting to upgrade the kind of equipment you have. So that's my spiel. What else is going on? I'm not sure when the next coffee with Stacey is. That's the thing about the coffees. They're a little random. I am republishing old podcast episodes at the same time as I'm making new Coffee with Stacey's. So if you go to the blog, just be sure to have a look. You can also go to freshdishes.com/podcasts, and all of the episodes will be posted because I had a really good podcast and there's a lot of good information on there, and I've just gotten the hosting sorted out to allow those episodes to be available currently so you can re-listen to them. The one I just posted was a talk I gave about pricing and selling your crocheted items, which a lot of people found really useful. And I have about 2 weeks before I go to my Craftsy class. So I hope you're crossing your fingers for me and wishing me good luck, and I'll talk to you sometime soon. Have a great week.